I've got one question for you. Are you ready to get your game on?
The longest-running off-road and action motorsports radio show on the planet is coming to you live with the biggest guest in motorsports. Here is the only man on the planet who can pack this much dirt slinging and tire slaying into 2 hours a week. Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to get your ears blown. Here is Jim Beaver and the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Good morning. Welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Also got some support coming from KMC Wheels, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. I'm your host, Jim Beaver, and I got to tell you, a packed show today. Like no other, no puns intended to KMC Wheels, but I got to tell you, today's lineup of guests, it's off the hook. This coming up is one of the biggest weekends in action motorsports. First off, you've got the X Games. You've got the Baja 500. You've got Pro Motocross going on. You've got Formula Drift going on. You've got Rally America going on. It's just crazy. I mean, this one weekend, it's just a conglomeration of everything action motorsports. I love it, and our guest list today is going to show you that. Kicking things off, we're going to have Jarett Brooks calling in, the young gun in Lucas Oil, coming off a TORC championship last year running in Pro Lite. He's going to be an X Games athlete. He's going to be running Stadium Super Trucks in X Games in the Rigid Industries truck. We're going to catch up with him. Then another Rigid Industries athlete we're going to have calling in. It's going to be Taylor Robert. He's going to be calling in at the end of the show. Endurocross Gold Medalist from 2013. He's going to be in action in Austin. We're going to be talking with him. Ami Houde will be doing that interview with me. Looking forward to having him. We're going to have Dani Medin calling in. A lot of you know her from some of our snowcross and torque coverage. She's got a new gig this year as the AMA Flat Track Pit Reporter. I know we've never covered flat track on this show before, but it's in X Games, so we need to talk about it. And what better person than Dani Medin? She's going to call in and tell us all we need to know heading into X Games about AMA Pro Flat Track. Then we're going to have my good friend Marty Fiolka. Knows the off-road business and industry better than anyone. The man behind Dust to Glory, the man behind Dirt Sports Magazine, just a guy that literally knows everybody in the industry. Anyways, he's going to be calling in. We're going to be talking Baja 500. There's some racing happening up at Crandon. We're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to talk about Ryan Arciero's new Formula Light series. Ryan was going to be a guest today as the founder of the new Formula Lights. We're going to snag him sometime in June because he's coming off their debut race this weekend. He's immediately down in Baja pre-running for the Baja 500. So all that and more, we shoot on the racing side of things. We've had motocross this weekend. We had Lucas Oil. We had Stadium Super Trucks. Red Bull GRC kickoff. Man, we got to talk about the Red Bull GRC kickoff. The man, the myth, the legend, my buddy Ken Block, doing it there in Fort Lauderdale. We're going to get into Red Bull GRC. We definitely got to dissect some motocross. Eli Tomac going down with an injury. I don't think anybody saw that coming with the dominance he showed in motocross so far this year. But it's there, and we definitely got to talk about that with Ami. So all that packed into one 2-hour show today, and I got to tell you, it's going to be a wild one. If you got any questions for any of our guests, definitely hit me up at JimBeaver15 on Twitter. We'll definitely get those questions answered. But right now, we're going to skip over to Jarett Brooks, who's calling in. How's everything going, Jarett?
Pretty good. Just got down with Lake Elsinore and headed home. Time to prep for Light, and then we're headed to X Games. So pretty busy couple weeks for us, but pumped to be going to X Games for the second year.
Yeah, I got to say, running Pro Lite, coming off a championship, with TORC, that's got to be really exciting for you. But there's something about X Games, man. It's just got to get you, as a driver. I mean, you've got a championship under your belt, but hanging a gold medal around your neck, it would have to feel pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because last year the Super Trucks were one of the biggest ratings in X Games, so. For this year, to have all the big names coming in, Travis Pastrana and Rusty Wallace is pretty big for the sport of off-road, and having Rigid Industries and General Tire and GoPro on board will make it even bigger for me. Yeah.
Well, and talking about that, I mean, you're a young guy. I call you one of the young guns of short course. I mean, it's got to be pretty special for you to know going into X Games. I mean, you're going to be competing against Pastrana, Rusty Wallace. I mean, these guys are legends. That's got to be pretty exciting for you to be sharing the track with these guys.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I've always looked up to those guys, especially Robbie, since I was a little guy. So it's cool. I've never really thought I would ever be raced against those guys or be around those guys, but I was for sure going to be banging doors with them and going for the win just as much as they are.
Yeah. Well, talking about stadium super trucks, I mean, how do you prepare for those? Because, I mean, people look at them and they do look a lot similar to the Pro Lite you're racing, but you and I both know they're nothing the same. I mean, how do you prepare for the transition from your short course truck into the stadium super truck, especially with the mix of asphalt and dirt that you're going to see at X Games?
Oh yeah, it's a super tough transition just because the super trucks, you're not racing on thick dirt, you're racing on super different terrain that we're used to. We're going on asphalt, which mostly you don't really see off-road trucks on asphalt, and you're hitting ramps with them, just launching, and it's a lot smoother than the Pro Lite, just a little more suspension, but those trucks are just so hard to handle. They're always on 3 wheels, they got a turning brake, and Raleigh has them set up where it's mainly just a driver class. It's who drives them the best, and it really just shows who's got the most talent in them.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit. We'll get back to Stadium Super Trucks and X Games in a minute, but I want to talk some short course with you. I mean, I think last year was a big year for you as a driver. I mean, a lot of people had heard of you, but and a lot may have not. But last year you came in and kind of a dark horse. I don't think a lot of people were expecting a whole lot. And end of the year, boom, TORC championship, and everybody goes, man, Jarett Brooks, he's here to play. Last year, I mean, that had to have been a pretty big turning point for your career.
Oh, yeah, that was huge for me. And then coming in this year, I feel like since we switched to Lucas Oil on the West Coast, put a lot of pressure on me just because I got a lot of eyes on me this year, and we're doing pretty good in Lucas Series, but we're finding some setup issues. But there's a lot of fast guys this year, so it's making it a lot more tough on me and the team. But we're getting through it, and it's just it's an awesome time.
Yeah. Well, how's that been for you? I mean, obviously, you're coming into this, you're TORC champ. Obviously, you're very fast. But coming into Lucas, I mean, a lot of these tracks are new to you. These guys have set up, they have all the, baseline setups and things like that because they've been running them for the past couple of years. You coming in, running TORC last year. I mean, do you feel like you're playing a little bit of catch up with setup and things like that?
Yeah, going to the new tracks, we just got to be on our A game whenever we go to a new track I haven't been to in a couple of years. So we got to play catch up a little bit, but I think our team's mostly pretty good with all that stuff. So I think we're just as advanced as everyone else, just because we've been on a lot of different tracks going back to TORC, like some long tracks, super short tracks. So we know kind of what to run at all the tracks.
Yeah. Well, looking at, obviously we're not really going to get into the TORC versus Lucas, but is it a total different, type of track? I mean, with TORC, you've got, the legendary tracks, Bark River and Crandon, and then, Lucas, you've got, basically like Elsinore, I call it a supercross track for off-road trucks. I mean, have you had to transition as a driver, what I mean, with a different style of tracks, or has it been pretty seamless?
Oh yeah, it's been actually totally different. When you go back to TORC, you're the setup changes a lot. You know, you're set up for high gearing, fast speeds, and you're mostly trying to run the outsides everywhere in torque. And then when you come to Lucas, you got just so many different line choices mostly happen. You can run the low lines, and then sometimes the outsides work. But in Lucas, I'm having a little troubles this year, but I'm not as aggressive. There's a lot more contact in Lucas just because everyone's just going for it so much harder. So it's been a little different for me, but I'm just trying to get a little more aggressive with everyone.
Yeah. Well, and I got to tell you, I've had this conversation with a lot of guys, on air, and, a lot of guys that race Pro Lite, and Pro Lite, obviously, Pro 2, Pro 4, everybody wants to talk about those, the big the big trucks and stuff like that. But Pro Lite, I swear you, this is one of the toughest divisions in all of off-road. You guys, the amount of entries, not everybody making the main event. I mean, it's a tough field. I mean, for you, you took a couple of sixth-place finishes, I believe, this past weekend. I mean, all things considered, that's a successful weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, the pro life field is just insane right now. Everyone's just trying to become pro and trying to prove themselves, basically. So, you got to be on your A game every weekend to run up front, and you have to basically. I didn't have too many good qualifiers this weekend, so it really affects everything. Qualifying, practices, just gearing, everything just plays a huge role in pro life. Because if you start fifth row, third row, I mean, you could be done in the first couple laps. There's everyone just going for it the first couple laps. It's basically like a demolition derby.
Yeah, it's just at some point it's like just survive and get through and then start racing right after the dust is cleared.
Yeah, basically like halfway through when all the carnage goes back in the back of the pack a little bit, then you can start racing.
Yeah. Well, I know, you're running Lucas this year. Any chance we see you possibly go to Crandon, run the World Championships there, or you pretty, for 2015 pretty set running Lucas?
Oh yeah, for sure. We got to run our number one plate for one time this season. So you'll probably see us in Crandon, and it's a little tight with our Lucas schedule, but we'll make it work.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I've always, admired about your program, obviously, you've got Rigid coming on board for X Games, and you're a Rigid athlete along with myself. I know, support from General Tires. I mean, you've been, obviously we'd all love to have more sponsorship, but, you've been pretty successful with retaining the sponsors you got.
Yeah, I'm just pumped that they're staying on board with me and trusting me in different sports of off-road and just trying to help me promote myself to help them promote themselves too. So it's cool to have sponsors on board that want to help you out just as much as anyone else.
Yeah, for sure. So, let's skip back and talk a little bit about Stadium Super Trucks. SST, these trucks, going into X Games. I mean, how much seat time do you actually have in one of these trucks?
Well, I raced when Super Trucks first year. I raced a few races of those in Qualcomm Stadium and raced a few stadium races, but I haven't really raced them on street too much. Last time I was in one was at X Games last year, so I might have a little disadvantage, but I think we'll get enough practice on Friday this week, so I think we can be just as competitive.
Yeah, well, and I've seen kind of some course layouts and stuff like that. It's kind of got to be fun for you. I mean, to jump into Super Truck. I mean, you look at Lucas and TORC, and I mean they're proper racetracks, right? You go to Stadium Super Trucks, and Robbie throws some batshit crazy stuff at you. That's just the easiest way to put it. It's got to be kind of fun for you to with the big crossover jumps and steel jumps. I mean, it seems like going and racing a Stadium Super Truck is just a whole lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's just pretty much all out going for it. There's no going slow waiting for everyone. If you're making a pass, you're either slamming them out of the way or you're ripping off bedsides everywhere. So it's cool to watch on TV afterwards, just see all the demolition derby out there. But in the truck, it's a blast. They're not as easy as they look to drive. They're probably the hardest thing I know to drive. So it makes it fun though for everyone, just because it's so equal. They're all the same trucks basically, so you can't really do too much setup on them.
Yeah. Well, long term, looking at the future in short course, what are the goals for you? Obviously, you're successful in Pro Lite. I know you'd probably love to bring home a Lucas Pro Lite Championship to go with your TORC one. Long term, I mean, you have your eyes set on Pro 2, Pro 4. I mean, what's the long term goal here?
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to get into Pro 2, Pro 4, and play more different forms of off-road, as in like desert, Baja, 1000, 500, and stuff like that, just to try some different things. But it's tough right now. There's so many good kids out there that are my age too that are just going for it too. So just basically all about being consistent and being up front in every race is the key to having eyes on you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, thinking about it now, you put it that way, and obviously you've been really successful with, with winning your championship and stuff like that. It's got to get, the sponsorship hunt's got to be tough though, for a guy like you, because, you've separated yourself with the championships and stuff like that. But, there's 4 or 5 other guys that are your same age and competing for the same sponsorship dollars as yourself.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just basically all about now is, that now that we have that championship, it's just about showing everyone that we still have the speed and we're still there to win races.
Yeah, for sure. So, talking about this year, though, let's, we've talked long term, talking about 2015. I mean, Lucas, you're sitting there, you're coming off a couple of 6th place, finishes. How's this year shaping up? I mean, what's it going to take for Jarett Brooks to bring home a championship in 2015?
This season has been so tough compared to last year. I feel like there's a lot more guys going for it, going for wins every race, no matter what. So this year, it's just basically about being consistent. There's so much carnage; anything can happen in the Lucas Pro Lite. So I'm just going to try to keep staying consistent, try to stay up in the top 5s, and try to get some more wins.
Yeah. Well, any tracks, obviously, you've run Elsinore now, you've run a few of the tracks. Anything you're eyeballing this year that, you think your truck or your driving skills will really excel at?
Elsinore has been pretty tough for us this year just because it's a home track for everyone and everyone's always pretty quick there. So I think my favorite track's probably Vegas. So I think I'm pretty pumped for Vegas, and I'm pretty good at short tracks, so we're going to Utah next. So I'm pretty cool to switch it up a little bit instead of Elsinore.
Yeah, for sure. On the Stadium Super Truck side, obviously we're going to see it at X Games. Any chance we see it any other rounds, or is this kind of a one-off for you this year?
I think this just might be a one-off for us, just to try to get some publicity for myself and all my sponsors and try to go for gold.
Yeah, for sure. And here's this is totally shot in the dark question at you, but you were talking about other forms of off-road. Any chance you'd like to try something like, Global Rallycross? I think, being a young guy like you, it definitely would be a good fit. Something like a, GRC Lights car like Mitchell DeYoung's run, or, some of these other guys.
Oh yeah, those forms are awesome too. It's just it's a little hard trying to focus on all these different forms when you're so dedicated to one form,
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I could just get another championship, then I can start exploring more and try to have my sponsors come on with me.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go, buddy?
Just Rigid Industries, General Tire, and GoPro for giving me the opportunity to come to X Games, and just pretty stoked that sponsors will trust me to go race different forms of off-road.
Yeah. So, give us a lowdown. You're an X Games athlete heading into X Games. What's your schedule look like this weekend as an athlete? I mean, do you know exactly your schedule, what you're going to be doing? I mean, kind of take us through, how the weekend looks for Jarett Brooks.
This weekend we fly out Thursday, and right after that we go to Step Up in downtown. Then Friday morning, I think we go hang out at the Circuit of America, get some test time in the super truck, and then pretty much on Saturday, I don't really know the exact schedule, but we might be qualifying and stuff, or just checking out all the some of the athletes perform in different events, and then Sunday we go racing. So it's an action-packed weekend. It's always last time we went to X Games is probably one of the best times I've had in off-road, just because they treat the athletes so well. You get to do basically anything you want.
Yeah, there's concerts going on. I mean, all kinds of cool events. I mean, as a kid like you're like me. I mean, you grew up watching X Games. I mean, it's got to be a dream come true for you.
Oh, for sure. I remember when I was little, watching X Games, watching Travis Pastrana do like the double backflip on TV. I was probably like, and then just kind of crazy seeing myself competing in X Games. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you taking the time to come on air, buddy. Good luck this weekend at X Games. We'll be pulling for you, and hopefully you can bring one home for General Tire and Rigid Industries.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jarett.
All right. See ya.
Take it easy. All right, that was Jarett Brooks, Lucas Oil racer, Stadium Super Trucks racer, your 2014 TORC champ, one of the young guns of off-road short course, a great kid, and he and I actually share a few sponsors, Rigid Industries, General Tire, and got to tell you, General Tire, Rigid Industries, they know what's up, right? Serious note, though, the kid is dialed in. He has some mad skills behind the wheel of an off-road truck, and great to see him at X Games, and here's hoping he can bring one home. I think he's definitely capable of doing it. As we've seen last year, though, it's there's a lot of luck that comes into winning X Games, and it's a stacked field. I mean, bringing in Rusty Wallace, Pastrana, it's gonna be interesting. But that all airs live on Sunday, so we'll definitely be dialed in and tuned in for that. But man, talk about a fun show so far. With Jarett Brooks, kid that I've needed to get on air for quite some time, and just haven't had a chance yet. But with that being said, right now we're going to roll into some Lucas Oil results, brought to you by our good friends at General Tire. And Lucas Oil results this weekend, they were out banging doors in Lake Elsinore. Kick things off with Pro Lite, round number 5. R.J. Anderson, my Polaris Razor teammate, he took home the win. Brad DeBerti, second. Brandon Arthur, third. Sheldon, the Prodigy Creed, in fourth. And Casey Curry in fifth. Jarett Brooks, sixth. Seventh went to Ryan Mead. I mean, look at that. Those top 7, any one of them could take taking a win. Ninth is Justin Bean Smith. Ray Griffith is in 11th. This is just it's kind of ridiculous how stacked this is. Jeremy Twitch Stenberg. I mean, it's crazy. Gavin Harlan, Mark Patridge. He's another guy I need to get on air sometime. But just stacked Pro Lite field, ridiculous. Pro Buggy, looking at Pro Buggy results, it was Dale Dondell, the trophy truck racer, taking home, I believe, his first ever win in Pro Buggy. We had Sterling Kling in second, Garrett George in third. Scooping over, man. What am I talking about here? Skipping over to Pro 2. It was Bryce Menzies taking home the win. Rob Mack in second. Jeremy McGrath in third. I got to tell you, Jeremy having a pretty decent year after the struggles he had in the past, and missing part of the season last year. And I'm stoked to see Jeremy doing well and back in there in Pro 2. Brian Deegan fourth. Patrick Clark fifth. Rodrigo Ampudia 6th, Renazetter 7th, Mike Dondell in 8th, Trevor Cooper 9th, and R.J. Anderson rounding out your top 10 for Pro 2. And then looking at Pro 4, and do we even need to give the results here? Kyle LeDuc once again, what an animal, taking home the win. I actually had the opportunity to go out testing some trophy trucks with Kyle last week. He's racing the Baja 500 with the Vanderways. They had their trophy truck out here in Parker, AZ, doing some testing, and I didn't actually get in the truck, but got to watch Kyle drive that trophy truck, and it was enlightening to say the least. I mean, there's kind of a pseudo short course here in Parker where we run part of our desert races, and Kyle had that trophy truck out there, and seeing him back a trophy truck into corners like he would a short course truck was pretty mind blowing. I mean, did some stuff in trophy truck I haven't even seen Robbie Gordon do. Let's put it that way. It was very impressive. So looking forward to seeing Kyle at the Baja 500 this weekend. But another win for him. Rob Mack second, Renazetter third, Brian Deegan fourth, and Bryce Menzies in fifth. Then looking at round number 6, yesterday, Lake Elsinore and Pro Buggy. Your winner was Sterling Kling, Garrett George in second, Mike Valentine, Darren Hardesty, and Kevin McCullough rounding out your top 5. Then going over to Pro Lite, and it was all R.J. Anderson. Sheldon Creed taking on that second spot. Casey Curry, Ryan Beat, Brad DeBerti, Jarrett Brooks, another 6. Twitch making a rebound, finishing up in 7th. Mamer in 8th. Knorr in 9th, and Joey Bickers in 10th. And then look at some of the big names down there. Gavin Harleen, 11th. Ray Griffith, 15th. Jimmy Fishback, 18th. Bean in 19th. Man, it just anything can happen in Pro Lite. Just like Jarrett said, it's anything can and will happen in Pro Lite, man. It's one of the toughest divisions to win. A lot of skill in that class, and then there's some guys that maybe they should have spent a little more time in a trophy cart. I don't know, but it's wild racing. I love watching Pro Lite. But Pro 2, Brian Deegan, the general, on top of the box. Bryce Menzies second, R.J. Anderson third. Man, we got all the energy drinks represented on that podium. Rob Mack in fourth, Jeremy McGrath, another top 5 on the weekend. Man, and then look at some of the others. Robbie Wood, 6th. Renazetter down there in 8th. Rod Amp, 9th. Todd LeDuc sneaking into the top 10. Sheldon Creed, the prodigy, down there in 14th position. And then Pro 4, once again, Kyle LeDuc, just an animal. I can't believe his truck from last year was for sale and nobody bought it. The truck he dominated with for a couple of years was for sale. Nobody bought it. Everybody went and rebuilt their own. Kyle builds another truck that's even faster than the other one, and nobody bought the one he had for sale. Talking with Kyle, they're turning it into a 2-seat. He's going to do some Gymkhana-type demos and shoot some video with Monster Energy. But what are you guys thinking, man? If I was a Pro 4 racer and Kyle had the thing up for sale, I would have been all over that. The guy's just dominating the field, and he's selling one of his trucks, and nobody jumps on it. I can't believe that. But anyways, Rob Mack in second, Adler third, Renazetter fourth, Doug Fortin sneaking into the top 5. The Wild Man, Adrian Cheney in 6th, Menzies 7th, Daughtry 8th, Deegan 9th, Eric Barron rounding out your top 10. So that was your short course results from this weekend. Lake Elsinore. All that brought to you by our good friends at General Tire. Find out more information on the web, generaltire.com. And I got to give a big shout-out, General Tire. It is their 100th anniversary, and they are giving away some big, big prizes. Go over to generaltire100.com for this contest. This contest running through July 28th, and the grand prize given to 4 winners. It's a 4-day, 3-night octane-fueled adventure with 01 Odysseys. The trip will be in October, and it includes $100 per day per diem, a flight and hotel in Las Vegas. Second prize winners are giving away 6 sets of General Tires. And then third place, you're getting some General Tire 100 swag bag. But easy to get involved in this General Tire 100 contest. All you have to do is create your own submission, post it up on social media, and it's easy. All you do is make a sign about General Tire's 100th birthday. You take a photo of you with that sign and then post it up on social media. Tag it with General Tire, and then hashtag GT100 sweeps, and share it socially. All you have to do is that, and you're in on the contest. You'll be going and playing in some off-road cars with 01 Odysseys. GeneralTire100.com. Get in on it. I got to tell you, I'm getting in on it. Obviously, I'm excluded from being able to win, but I got some really cool plans for my entry. I got my 6-year-old daughter involved in it, and a Polaris RZR, if that gives you any idea. But it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Get in on that website again, generaltire100.com. Get on these sweepstakes. Go and have some octane-fueled adventure with 01 Odysseys. All right, this is a Down and Dirty radio show powered by Polaris RZR. I am Jim Beaver, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Marty Fiolka is going to be calling in. We're going to be talking some Formula Formula Lights, and some Baja 500. All that and more coming up next on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris RZR XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
The Rough, Tough, and Muddy Terracross Championship returns to the San Diego County Fair Del Mar Fairgrounds Thursday, June 25th and Friday, June 26th. Come see the RZR XP1000 crossover off-road racing at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. each day. Get in free with paid fair admission. Who will take the championship this year? Monster Energy superstar RJ Anderson, Red Bull's Levi LaValle, Rockstar's Colton Moore, Mystics Mickey Thomas, all vying for the coveted title in this unique entertainment style racing. With tight turns, crossover jumps, and obstacles you'll see professionals navigate some of the toughest courses in racing. Plus, see racing legends like Walker Evans. Get up close and personal with high-profile action sports stars at our autograph session from 3 to 4 each day at Vendor Row in the pits. This high-action entertainment can also be seen on CBS Sports Network, or go to TerracrossRacing.com for details. Powered by Polaris Razor, Mystic Lubricants, Keystone, Walker Evans, GBC Tires, Fox, Rugged Radios, UTVUnderground.com, WGAS, your local Polaris dealers, and more.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm your host, Jim Beaver. Just got done with off-road young gun Jarett Brooks. But right now, we're going to roll right into another interview. My guest on the line, Marty Fiolka. How's everything going, Marty?
Good. Is that kind of by logic mean I might be off-road old gun? You can just answer that.
Well, I don't know, man. I got to tell you, at one point, I don't know, I was a young gun, and now I don't know what the heck I am, but I see these young kids coming up, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm getting old. My wife gives me crap because I got a little gray coming in. I'm in my low 30s. I'm like, I'm not even that old. But, seeing these kids that are dominating and not even 18 yet, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy, but I think it also speaks volumes for the long-term longevity of off-road racing for sure, and I think it's one of those really good movements that have kept the sport, fresh and relevant. And like we talked about before, Jimmy, it's a situation that fortunately off-road racing doesn't necessarily have to worry about, certainly nearly as much as, let's say, NHRA drag racing or NASCAR or some of those series where, it all tends to be skewed to a much older audience.
Yeah, and I think that's true. And I got to tell you, I'm a little jealous of these young guys because when I was their age, there was no proper ladder system. There was no way for me to get involved. And I've talked about this on the show before, but, for me, it was, how did I get experience? Well, it was, going out pre-running with my dad, or riding a quad or a dirt bike in the desert. Now there's trophy carts and there's all of this other stuff. And I think, these kids at their young age, they have so many more opportunities than guys like me or Ryan Arciero or just about anybody had at that age.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. I think when I first saw the first trophy cart, very first prototype, I was just so blown away because it just represented such an opportunity. I mean, remember, again, kind of go-karting in my dad's homemade go-kart, when I was young too, and there was never an opportunity to do any off-roading for me except for, drive my Baja bike around until, later on. One of the reasons why the wide open concept we had back in the day was so good is because it allowed people to come and, get a taste of it for, a relatively reasonable cost and see if they even liked it. Because before that, you really have to kind of go out and buy a car and do it that way. And, it was a thing. But yeah, to have this opportunity, and you mentioned Ryan Arciero, one of the reasons I'm happy to be on today is, we discussed this a little bit, but, having opportunity in a ladder system in open car racing or open wheel racing system has been a bit of an issue over a long period of time. And I think, if you watch the recent, Indy 500, the sport is still a pretty exciting, viable form of asphalt racing. But, for 7 years, Ryan Arciero had a dream along with business partner Dennis McCormick to start a new open wheel, ladder system in this country. And, finally this past weekend, they were able to kind of see that dream come true with their new Formula Lights project, which is, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Ryan's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and I've kind of known about this, and I think, what was it, last year, there was a big formal announcement on it, you know what I mean, that, hey, we're finally green lighting this thing, and I think even at that point, there was still a lot of naysayers, But here we go. Fast forward. It's been there. It happened. I mean, what's the, I'm sure you've had a chance to talk with Ryan. Obviously, he's down in Baja preparing for the Baja 500, but it almost has to be a big relief off his shoulders to finally be like, yes, we did it,
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate enough to be contracted by Formula Life to do all the public relations and marketing work, and I have a lot of open wheel experience from before when I did a lot of work for the Xfinity Indy project in the Indianapolis 500, and kind of used a lot of asphalt racing, sports car racing. So it's been fun to get back into it. But yeah, so we had the announcement at the SEMA show where they unveiled the car, and what this car is, Jimmy, it's unbelievable. Actually, they contracted and partnered with a company called Crawford Composites back east, and Crawford does a lot of the high-end composite carbon fiber sports car work and open wheel work, and they basically developed Crawford in association with Honda and Pirelli, and Ryan and Dennis created this Formula Lights car, which is a brand new, scratch-built, clean sheet of paper Formula car that was intended to provide people the opportunity to get something that was new and modern, and a ladder system for younger kids, maybe even getting out of go-karting into something that was a real modern open wheel car. And by that, a lot of the lower formulas are all counting on using technology that's 15, 20 years old. They're still using tube frames. They're still using those type of things. And now with these guys, they've come in and built a beautiful car. I mean, when you see it in person, it's absolutely what I always think of a Formula car should look like. And a beautiful all carbon fiber monocoque, all downforce wing car with a Honda Civic 4-cylinder engine. Car weighs about 1,100 pounds, and it's got a 6-speed sequential transmission that uses a paddle shifting system and has all the data acquisition you can want. Has a digital dash, and this is exactly what is being used today in IndyCar and Formula One and those type of things. But now, for a very reasonable price, these young kids can come in and older veterans who want to try it too can come in and try this new formula. It's sanctioned by SCCA Pro Racing. It's a pro series. And, I had the first weekend this weekend at Thompson Speedway. We were out in Connecticut back east and watched this thing kind of get off the ground.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is something cost affordable, because it seems like with any ladder system, I know, especially in open wheel, I mean, I for a long time, I was a huge open wheel fan, and there was at one point I literally, I wanted to try and go Indy Lights racing, and I know what the costs are, to do that, and it's just astronomical.
It's astronomical, and you got to remember that, for some of and I had no idea, I've been out of this for a long time. I certainly had never been in go-karting for a long time, but we through this whole process discovered that there are dads out there spending $250,000 a year so their kids can be the top level of go-kart racing. I mean, $250,000 to go go-kart racing. I never thought that was possible. So, but it's true. And what this formula goes back to is it is absolutely kind of a controlled spec series. But what's really great about it is the cars are absolutely state of the art. So they use kind of state-of-the-art downforce. They use, a full safe carbon fiber tub, just like a regular Indy car does. And the buy-in cost of the car is about $120,000 complete, out the door, on rain tire Pirellis. But that's all. You don't need to buy any extra aero kits or anything else. But through that process, I mean, the neat part is to add the running costs, which are always what people forget about. The running costs, you're running basically a really cool state-of-the-art, stock Honda Civic engine that runs a special fuel injection system, but it's intended to run like 5,000 race miles before you have to tear it down. And the replacement costs for all the parts that are used are very reasonable from what I saw this weekend. There were a few incidents, but the replacement costs for like uprights and track arms from the Crawford folks was very reasonable. And, everybody I talked to this weekend, the dads and stuff, and we had one of the teams is actually owned by a gentleman by the name of Jeremy Dale, who's a really cool old sports car racer, not even that old, but and his partner is Justin Wilson, who's the IndyCar driver, and they're so excited because they can actually afford to provide this opportunity. And it's something that Ryan looked at a lot, and Dennis looked at a lot, and so does Honda and Pirelli, and they are all in. They really think that this is the wave of the future, and we're looking at what I saw this weekend. It certainly looks to be the case.
Yeah. Well, and you know, here's a question for you. I mean, how was the on track action? Because at the end of the day, you know, that's what's going to sell it to fans. I mean, was it really close racing?
Well, it was, but again, here's the thing to remember: is that so prior to this weekend, most of the teams, most of the cars, and most of the drivers were brand new. So on the first practice day, we had open practice on Thursday, all the way through till the last race on Saturday night. There were zero mechanical problems with the engine, zero mechanical problems with the chassis. You know, everything worked, and for just out of the box to run as many laps and miles as was the case, that was a fantastic start. And then, yeah, sure, teams are going to start getting a handle and a grip on these cars. I mean, they're, you know, at the end of this race, they were 100, 150, 155 miles an hour. There was within a few seconds of breaking the track record there right out of the box. And as you know, there was little time to do much shock. You can change shock settings, you can change spring rates, you can change wing angles, you can do all those things at the stiffness and the roll bars and stuff. You can change all that stuff. So these teams and drivers are brand new and just getting into it. And there was some very, very good racing just out of the box. I mean, I think as the season progresses, it's going to just get better and better.
Awesome. Well, and I'm stoked to know, you know, we haven't really said much on the show, but we're going to be working with yourself and Ryan on, you know, kind of promoting the series and the drivers this year. So I'm kind of looking forward myself to seeing how this, you know, series matures.
Yeah, we have a big love affair with you know, trying to link up maybe a little bit of the off-road world with this world too, and maybe we talked a little about trying to get a driver to come out and maybe, you know, try his hand at this for a race weekend, or one of the you know, the young guns in Lucas Oil or something like that, to kind of tie it all together. I mean, Ryan never forgets his roots, and the real thing that's interesting is when you get into another forms of racing, there's always links back to different people. I mean, you know, there are the guys names that were brought this weekend, like Trevor Harris, who worked on a lot of the old Indy cars and Can-Am cars, who later designed, you know, the Chevy Vortex trucks, and then, you know, the Volkswagen, you know, Touareg that Ryan, you know, was in charge of. And, you know, it all kind of goes back together. It's really interesting. The sport at some level is very small, and there's interest, you know, and, you know, remember what's really cool about what happened this weekend with Formula Lights is that there was a driver from China, there was a driver from Mexico, there's a driver from Sao Paulo, Brazil, and there were Americans. And, you know, they all start, you know, kind of checking it all out, and some knew about the off-road racing. Certainly they all heard about Baja when we talked about it, and they all were really excited about the fact that, you know, Ryan was going down with the Hertz team this weekend and pre-run and getting ready for the, you know, this coming Baja 500. So it's always a great deal to kind of sit and just kind of share universes, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's what's funny, you know, because I do a lot in the rally community, travel with Rally America and Red Bull GRC and, you know, here and there. And it's funny because you say that there's always links back. You know, here you are sitting with, you know, some of the biggest drivers in rally, and, you know, guys with 5 million, you know, followers on Instagram, and you know, they all want to know, hey, I know Vegas to Reno was last weekend, or hey, I know the Mint 400. How'd you do? You know, what's it like to drive one of those trucks? And, you know, it's just funny talking with these guys. And like you said, everybody understands off-road, and there's always, you know, a tie in there. You know, people want to know more about it. It's like we're the mystical motorsport, you know?
Yeah, in the sense, you know, it's kind of fun watching even next weekend with the you know, the X Games and Robbie and all of that. And, you know, that's kind of another link to it all. And you know, racing is racing, and when you get to the level that where you're somehow fortunate enough or blessed enough to make a living at it, you know, if you've been around certain things as long even as I have, you get to realize that, you know, the guys who do that are very small, and the people who, you know, are good at what they do rise to the top. And it's that way in any form of motorsport, maybe any form of sports altogether. But yeah, it was certainly nothing but going back to your original question, and there was certainly nothing but pride for Ryan and Dennis to spend. Like I said, they spent 7 years trying to get this concept together, and you know, it wasn't until last year where they finally got, you know, real interest from Honda. That was a big help, and Rafael Navarro, who's an off-road racer, as you know, he also runs the Pro Lite Motorsports program here in the U.S., and he jumped on as a big supporter of the series. So Oakley Watches, David Eibach, you know, all these names that they're involved with off-road, that they're involved there too. Impact Safety, Roddy Pierce got involved with this thing. So there's ties everywhere. But you know, this is a brand new formula that I think in the long run, if you really take a hard look at it, is going to have some success. And I think this year they're running 6 race weekends for 12 races. A lot of really beautiful boutique facilities. They're going to New Jersey for the next round, and then EIR in Virginia the next round, and they're going to finish up in Houston. And then they're already looking for some bigger venues for next year. So I said Ryan's got his hands full, but the bottom line is that the cars showed up at the racetrack, and they worked very well, and we have teams and drivers that are really excited about this series and it moving forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get with you and Ryan and figure out. I got to try and make it out to one of these events this year. I think I just need to. It sounds like just an awesome series, and I'm stoked to see how it grows. But talking about this weekend, obviously we had Formula Lights kick off, but another couple of big things coming up. Baja 500, and then I know you guys have some stuff happening up at Crandon too, right?
Yeah, we've got a couple. Race weekend is definitely off and running after Memorial Day. So, yeah, obviously, I am looking forward to seeing what happens this weekend at the Baja 500. I think that, looking at the field, getting ready to qualify, and you start scratching your head and looking, and those obvious guys to look at. Certainly, Bryce Menzies is one of them. He's proven this. He's becoming like the Ivan Stewart of the Baja 500. He's won the last two, and I think that this course really matches his style in terms of preparation. Bryce is strong wherever he goes, but I think he's one to look for. Obviously, McCaffrey, there's no question. Rob is hungry to kind of get to the front of the box again, and he's always prepared. And one of I think the dark horse guys I'm looking at for actually doing very well this weekend could be Jason Voss. Mm-hmm. He's certainly made the transition but his arsenal now includes doing much better in Baja, as opposed to, the best in the desert, Vegas to Reno, Nevada, desert style racing. And I think the other guy to look at, actually, who you kind of look at coming up, and he's getting better and better, is Luke McMillan. I mean, he's got a different chassis. That racer chassis is lighter. It seems to work very well according to everybody I've talked to. And Luke has been very, very fast. Has got a lot of talent, and he works very hard at it. I mean, this is his thing. He just loves to death. Dan has a great time. He's also talented, but I think Luke, at the end of the day, is a little more focused. And I think that he's got an excellent opportunity this weekend to kind of bring the McMillans to the front again. There's a lot of great teams, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, including, as we were talking about, Ryan Arciero and the Herbst team, with Larry Rossler. Those guys have been getting better and better too, and I think that they are ready to kind of break out again.
Yeah, well, and I think another dark horse, and I mentioned it earlier because I spent a day out, well, not a day, but a few hours out watching them test here in Parker. They invited me out, but Kyle LeDuc teaming up with the Vanderways, and the Vanderways a couple years ago, they finished first at the Baja 1000. I think got beat on time, but they were the first overall finisher. So we know those guys know how to put it all together too. And I think with Kyle, I was saying I saw him do some stuff on the short course we've got here in Parker, the Gauntlet or the Python or whatever they call it. He was backing a trophy truck into those short course corners. I've never seen anybody, including Robbie, because I've been out testing with him, I've never seen somebody do in a trophy truck what I saw Kyle Duke do last week. It was pretty impressive.
That's impressive, and obviously that has a lot to do with what he does, on his regular job, so to speak. But and the fact he can do it in a two-wheel drive trophy truck makes it really interesting. So obviously, that rotation, that really hard reverse rotation that you see, but even at a place like Crandon with a four-wheel drive truck, and that's what they do. But that's fantastic to know. I mean, it's just a matter of knowing if he can, rotate the truck like that and get speed like that. Let's say from the section from Santo Tomas, Valle Trinidad over the hill to the Pacific side, and that's a first area you think that could actually help him and be, faster coming up the Pacific side into Santo Tomas also. So it'll be interesting to see. And there's no question. There's some really great teams racing down there, and it's the Baja 500, so they're going to be going for its second big desert race next to the 1,000 of the year, and I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, and one more question on Baja before we kind of transition, but how does Rumoroso, how's the grade affect things?
I think it affects things in a lot of ways. I think it's definitely for those drivers going over that. You can say all you want, and you can be as brave as you want, but the fact of the matter is that I think it's got everybody's attention. It always does. I think a lot of ways, that there's the real trick there is just getting through it. It's like the first 30 miles to Ojos Negros. You have to get through that
stay clean.
And stay clean. And that's, over the years, we've seen that it's like 1,000 miles to Ojos Negros, I've called it. Like that first part, it's gotten harder and more technical, and with all the the population, it's gotten much more difficult to do cleanly. And I think Roos is the same way. The hope, of course, is that nobody gets stuck, nobody blocks traffic. I think that from a race standpoint and from scores perspective, that's the biggest thing you kind of worry about. It's like, gosh, I hope nothing happens where there's a big blockage and everybody's backed up, and all of a sudden guys are pushing trucks over the cliffs to keep going. That always worried me from every kind of perspective, from a race perspective and from a racer perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know you obviously work with Crandon very closely. What's happening up there? Because I understand Crandon's got some racing action coming up too.
Crandon has got racing action too. Yeah, this weekend is called the Launderville Steel 4x4 Super Challenge weekend, and what it's intended to do is provide Crandon like a third major for their summer season. Their season really is a summer long. And what it is, it's kind of a combination of the first race for all the sportsman short course races of the Midwest. It includes Wee Rock, like Ultra 4 racing, and it also includes this group of mud bogging guys from Michigan. And it's intended to be kind of an all-encompassing weekend where spectators can come out and really enjoy seeing all forms of off-road racing in one facility. As you know, Jimmy, that Crandon is basically one of the one places you can do that. And there's a separate, those guys back at Crandon, Cliff Flannery and the folks there have no issue with building certain parts of their venues specifically for certain aspects of the sport. So there's going to be a state-of-the-art, mud pit there. And, some of those cars are crazy. If you watch the videos, huge horsepower, really fun to watch. And then there's also, a section of the track now that's intended to be a real tough 4x4 obstacle course section, and the Ultra 4s will also run on the short off-road course, the Crandon course. And of course, you've got the regular sportsmen, all those teams that are coming, to get ready for their Crandon and Bark River series. And last year it was a great first year, and they're expecting a lot more this year.
Yeah, Crandon, there's just something about it, and I think, talking about this is going to kind of their third big weekend, and then what is it, end of June, we've got TORC there, and then obviously the big one over Labor Day, just talking with Jarett Brooks on air, you know what I mean? He was a TORC champ last year in Pro Lite. Talking with him, I said, "What's the plans this year?" And he says, "Well, we're running LOORRS." He says, "We just want to change things up." He's like, "We're running X Games with Stadium Super Truck," but he's like, "Man, we're going back to Crandon." You know what I mean? For Labor Day, he's like, "I'm a short course racer. I wouldn't miss it for the world."
Yeah, I mean, the focus for Crandon is from our perspective, is to make sure it maintains its place in the sport as the place to come to a short course race. Certainly that's the case over Labor Day. I mean, we'd like to see everybody there, for the what we call the little Crandon race in June, which isn't that little either.
Yeah.
But certainly Labor Day, rounding out the summer, I keep hearing rumors of, teams that are coming out for Labor Day from the West Coast. And I think that, I'm pretty certain you're going to see Kyle and LeBoux there. You're going to see Casey Curry there. I understand the Menzies may be coming out. Some other names too are going to surprise some people. But, I think that's the whole goal. I think the sport, in terms of Crandon itself, certainly in terms of Labor Day, needs to keep in perspective that they need a Super Bowl. That short course racing needs a Super Bowl, and certainly I don't think anybody can argue that Labor Day Crandon is that Super Bowl. And, the track gets getting bigger. We're adding more camp facilities. We're adding a new reservation system that'll be out soon, brand new website that's going to be up soon. And it's intended to kind of keep that place a special place, just like, we always compare it, but it's true. It's like the Indianapolis 500 and the Indianapolis versus Beaver. That's Memorial Day, and Crandon's Labor Day. It's all American. It's all the good things you think about in the Midwest. And, I'd invite anybody who's never been out there to make the trek, fly to Green Bay. It's a 2-hour drive up to Crandon, or take the ultimate summer road trip and go out and see it, because it's something very, very special. It's not anything like anybody's ever seen. They've only gone to, even in a long history of core out here and Lucas Oil, some beautiful facilities, but nothing like Crandon. And that's the fact. And, I think it's only good for the sport that everybody kind of puts down the politics a little bit and and said, okay, we're going to make something that's, the ultimate short course race. And the hope is that everybody will someday be there at Labor Day and not be, not have it be politically biased at all. And I know it's hard to do, but at the end of the day, I think that's what the sport needs. It's one event that now more mainstream media can understand, that it becomes like kind of just like the Baja 1000 is, that there's a centerpiece of the sport. And I think that the Crandon Labor Day is that.
Yeah, I completely agree, my friend. Well, I know it's been fun having you on, but we're kind of right at our time allotment here, Marty. But hope all is well, buddy. And we need to do this more often, man. We need to make it like a monthly thing, and have you on air to catch up instead of I feel like we always cut it short. I think you and I could talk for 2 hours on air.
Yeah, we probably could, but it's very enjoyable. Jimmy, your show is great and getting better all the time. And I just listening to it and. I want to congratulate you for all the hard work you put in and kind of blending all these different forms of off-road racing. Having the nerve to include like a Formula Light, open wheel series today was really great. And I appreciate it. And I know Ryan RCR and everybody at Pro Lights does and everybody at Crandon does too. So enjoy your weekend and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, my friend.
Okay.
All right, that was Marty Fiolka, just off-road everything, man. He's, lives, breathes, eats, sleeps it. Great having him on air. We got to take a short commercial break. When we come back, Dani Medin's going to be on air. We're going to be talking some X Games, AMA Flat Track, maybe even throwing a little torque here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle. Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance, rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZ RZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners. And for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Looking to upgrade the brake system on your race car, pre-runner, or weekend toy? J-Mar Performance Brake Systems has you covered. An industry leader in performance braking systems, J-Mar can outfit your vehicle with the highest quality American-made calipers, rotors, master cylinders, hubs, turning brakes, and shifters for Volkswagens to trophy trucks and everything in between. For more information and their full product line, visit J-Mar on the web at jmarperformance.com or follow them on Instagram and Twitter at J-Mar Brakes.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Fun show so far. TORC champ, Lucas Oil racer, X Games athlete, Stadium Super Trucks racer Jarett Brooks to kick things off. Just got done talking some Crandon, some Baja 500, and Formula Lights with Marty Fiolka. And that leads me to our next guest, my good friend, Miss Dani Medin. How's everything going, Dani?
It's going good. I got my venti Starbucks coffee. There is not enough coffee in the world for me today, but I'll survive.
Yeah. Are you one of those?
It takes me forever to recover from these race weekends. I don't know if I'm getting old or what.
Yeah. Are you one of those that wishes they had like a bigger size than that? Like they need one bigger, right?
Oh my gosh! Usually when I go to Flat Track, I have my morning coffee and my afternoon coffee. So I usually I have two at the races. It's pretty bad, I know. I was like, okay, I'm going to stop buying Starbucks. It's impossible.
Yeah. Well, talking about that, in the races, I know, we've had you on here and we've talked TORC with you. We've talked snowcross with you. But I think we've talked some Amsoil girls, a little everything, maybe even some Harley Davidson. But now AMA Pro Flat Track, you're dialed in with that. How's that going?
It is so awesome. I mean, this is all new riders, new people, a new series, every track I've never been to. So, I mean, I'm the rookie in this. I'm learning so much every race. I have two great co-hosts, so to speak, Chris Carr, 7-time Grand National Champion, and Scotty Dubler, who, has this crazy background in flat track racing as well, that are guiding me through this, and I'm learning so much. I just wish I could take a couple laps on a bike. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you could convince somebody of it, right? You've done some work for Harley Davidson, former snowmobile racer yourself. I'm sure you can sweet talk somebody into that.
Yeah, I was actually just in Austin recently shooting for Harley Davidson, so everybody should, when they pick up their 2016 catalogs and ads, and hopefully they'll see me in something. I basically got to be a stunt driver. It was the coolest thing ever.
Nice.
But I don't know what pictures they're going to pick or what they're going to do. So, but I was super pumped to be asked to shoot again for Harley. So, kind of fits in with all of this.
Yeah. Well, take us through, flat track. Obviously, you and I were talking. It's in the X Games now. Obviously, we need to be covering it on the show. We've never really jumped into it much before, but you are the right person for the job because you're traveling with AMA Pro Flat Track. But, kind of take us through it. Obviously, X Games is huge for flat track. I mean, I've known about flat track forever. I've paid attention to flat track forever. But I'm a passive fan, never, a hardcore fan. I'll own up to it. I mean, going into this weekend at X Games, what do people want to know? Because you've told me all these crazy storylines. I mean, family members racing against each other, men, women, there's so much craziness happening. I mean, break it down. What should people look for at X Games?
Well, this is obviously the first time that flat track has ever been at X Games, so this is history in the making. Shanna and Corey Texter, brother and sister, first time ever that siblings are racing against each other at this level, and husband and wife, Nicole and Jarett Meese. We have seen them duke it out at the last couple events. I mean, there was a race there where Nicole was leading Jarett, and, as a former pro racer myself, I mean, to see these chicks up battling on these huge machines with these guys and holding their own and at this level that they're at, it's just amazing. So, there's been several different winners so far at, Daytona. There were 2 rounds that kicked off the season. We went to the Springfield Mile, and then we were just in Sacramento this last weekend. So far, Brian Smith is the only person who has won 2 races this year so far. So we have basically almost seen a different person win every single round besides the past 2. So going into X Games, can Brian Smith be a dominant factor in this? I'm not going to say no. He's won the past 2 races, and he just made history at Sacramento, winning that race 5 times in a row, which means he smashed his own record twice. So, it's anybody's game out here. There wasn't a ton of talk, so to speak, on our end at Flat Track this past weekend because, we were trying to cover Sacramento. But everyone was obviously prepping for X Games. What can we do? What can we change? Every heat race, every semi, there's different people winning. The Dash for Cash, there's different people. It's going to be very interesting what happens on Thursday.
Yeah, I think, I'm excited for it. I think the reception is going to be huge for this at X Games. I mean, something kind of out of the box for X Games to do, but I think Texas is definitely the place for it to happen.
I've honestly never been to a summer X Games event, and I will not be at X Games. There's other staff that are going to be covering this event because it's not AMA Pro Racing, that's sanctioning this, so I will not be there. I will be watching from home, cheering everybody on, which I'm kind of bummed, but, I'm hopefully just going to keep growing with this sport. It's my first time. I'm still learning everything, too, so I have my couple picks. I have my people that I think, based off what has happened so far this season at, AMA Pro Flat Track, who the winners have been. You can't write off our past 2 GNC champions, Brad Baker, who won in 2013, Jarett Meese, who won in 2014. They're both going to be dominant riders out there. I mean, it's really going to be tough, and I hope it comes down to a photo finish. I really do.
Yeah. Well, talking about, the format of X Games, do you, is it, I know sometimes ESPN, I know they've done it with Red Bull GRC, they've done it with Stadium Super Trucks. They change up the format of the way events work. Is Flat Track going to be the same as what people are accustomed to, or is it going to be something different, kind of out of the box ESPN style?
I honestly cannot answer that question. I don't know too much about actually what's going to happen at X Games besides who's invited, and my results that I've seen so far at Flat Track. I would assume it's going to be different because, at an AMA Pro event, we have your heat races, we have your Dash for Cash, we have your semifinals, and then, this weekend we had 2 semifinals for that class that went into the main event. So obviously I don't think they would do that many rounds. I mean, obviously I don't think they have the time to do that at X Games. So it's going to be down and dirty. People are going to be running close, and it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be interesting. I can tell you one thing. Everybody's going to see this, and then you're going to get guys like Pastrana, who's just batshit crazy, go, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. And, next year you're going to see Pastrana on a flat track bike at X Games. Guaranteed something like that will happen.
Well, I hope what's going to happen with this is that it's going to put kind of flat track back on the map, because this is the original form of motorcycle racing. It's all over the country. And not, you know, and I talked to so many fans this weekend when we were done at Sacramento that came up to me, you know, we've been watching this stuff for years, and I had a friend of mine who I grew up with that raced flat track, but I never actually got a chance to see him do this. But, I mean, there are so many fans and followers in this, and I'm hoping that putting flat track at X Games is going to bring this back to that whole almost original level, because it is so awesome. I mean, I actually got to go down, because it's so hard for me to get around some of these tracks with, you know, having to stay at the podium, and, you know, I'm the only one kind of trackside that I actually got to go down to the first turn at Sacramento, and when those guys are coming in, it's like, holy crap. You know, I mean, it doesn't even do it justice watching it on the live stream. Like, I just keep telling people, you have to come to a race, you have to come to a race. So I'm hoping that with X Games, that this is going to bring us to this whole new level. We're going to get people that are going to come to a race that's near them. And like you said, hopefully next year there's going to be some new faces that are going to say, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to get some of those guys kind of try and shake it up with the regulars and see what happens, you know. And, you know, it's like you said, I mean, this isn't, you know, it's been around for a long, long time. I remember as a kid watching it. You know, my dad used to work with a guy that actually used to do it professionally back in the 70s. I mean, it's amazing skill that these guys and women have, and you know, what they're able to do on a bike, to me, is pretty remarkable.
Well, you know, and as I'm looking at the point standings currently and the past winners so far this season, you know, Kenny Coolbath started out the season in Daytona, you know, on fire, and he's been Mr. Consistency in my mind. I mean, he's leading the point standings. He only has one win so far, but I don't want to write him off either, because, you know, he's the king of cool, they say. I mean, he has so much experience in this that I don't want to say who I think is going to win, because, I mean, it really could be anybody, but there's a good handful of guys that I'm saying, if they're right where they want to be, their bikes are running great, track conditions are favorable. I got my couple names that are written down that I'm hoping to see up in the top.
Yeah, you gotta kind of say neutral publicly, I guess, since you're one of the faces of the sport now, right?
I mean, I don't have favorites, but I mean, you know, you see these people who have won before, who are consistent, who have the experience. I don't think we can really say who's going to win this.
Yeah.
Because right now we've had different winners every round besides the past two.
Yeah.
And this is, no one's been here before. I mean, this is are nerves going to get in the way?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was out there, I'd be nervous.
Yeah, for sure. X Games, I mean, that's the big one. So, you know, what else do you have going on? Obviously, I know Supercross wrapped up with the Amsoil girls, so now you're pretty much game on with flat track this year, huh?
Yeah, I have 2 weekends off, which will be great. Spend time with my husky. I enjoy her so much. Then we have 4 rounds in a row. So we're going to be super busy, and I get like 2 weekends off again, and then there's another, you know, August is a crazy month with, you know, Sturgis, the 75th. We'll be out there racing. I know last year it got rained out. So I'm hoping that this year people can, you know, people that are in Sturgis can see this, because TORC is going on, flat track. There's so many cool things for like all of us bikers to go see.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Sturgis because, I mean, I love going to Sturgis. Sturgis is one of my favorite places. Otherwise, we got Amsoil girls at a couple things this summer. I sadly am missing TORC off-road this year. If I get to go to a race, it's going to be one of the days that flat track is not on with TORC off-road. So kind of disappointing because I know I miss everybody in the Race One online crew. But, I mean, flat track's awesome. I got this great opportunity, and I wasn't going to say no.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can't do that when doors open like that. So, well, it's, you know, as always, it's been kind of fun having you on air, and, you know, we're going to have you on regularly, kind of keep tabs on flat track and how everything's going.
Yeah, you're going to have to get the winner of X Games Flat Track on your show next week and kind of start adding, you know, our riders to your show on a regular basis. Because, I mean, some of these guys, they're so awesome. They're so down to earth. You know, and they work so hard to do what they do, and they risk so much flying 130 miles an hour, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the crashes that I've seen so far are pretty scary.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't get enough credit. So get on to AMA Pro Flat Track, follow us, help us grow, come to a race. That's all I can say.
All right. We'll definitely work with you, try and get the winner on, and and definitely everybody go and follow AMA Pro Flat Track. And thanks a lot, Dani.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right. Take it easy. All right, that was good friend Dani Medin, your reporter for AMA Pro Flat Track. Great having her on. Debuting at X Games this weekend. Definitely check it out. It's going to be awesome. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Ami Houde's going to be calling in, and we are going to have Taylor Robert on air, X Games Gold Medalist, all that and more when we come back from this commercial break. Thanks for staying tuned to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm your host, Jim Beaver. Been rocking and rolling on this Monday morning. We've had, Jarett Brooks, X Games Stadium Super Trucks driver. We've had Marty Fiolka on air, Dani Medin talking some AMA Pro Flat Track. And up next, we are going to have my sidekick, Ami Houde. She's going to be calling in, and we're going to be talking with X Games Gold Medalist Taylor Robert. He's going to be calling in, and we're going to talk about X Games. He's also my Rigid Industries teammate, so looking forward to having him on air in just a few minutes. But want to make mention to our good friends at Gibson Exhaust real quick. They're kicking off their American Tradition Tour with the Hot Rod Power Tour coming up in Madison, Wisconsin this coming weekend. So check them out, Gibson Exhaust. They'll be on that Hot Rod Power Tour, kicking off their American Tradition Tour all summer long. They'll be doing Hot Rod Power Tour, Mustang Week, Carlisle Truck Nationals, Woodward Dream Cruise, Sandsport Show, Cruising for a Cure, Off-Road Expo, SEMA Ignited, all happening. Check them out, GibsonExhaust.com. But right now, Ami Houde hanging out. How's everything going, Ami?
Hey, how's it going? Where's my intro? I was so ready for that.
Oh crap! Hold on, I totally spaced it. I was doing this Gibson thing. So hang tight. We gotta let's stop, reverse. All right, here is Ami Houde.
You better bust that if you don't blow that. Where the hood at?
How's that?
Yeah, that was good. All right.
All right. I totally botched that. I was talking about Gibson Exhaust, and you called in, and I picked you up, and I got to tell you, I've had that song stuck in my head all weekend since I did that. So I'm hating you right now.
I know, it's pretty funny. No one really knows how to say my last name. Everybody jacks it up because it's spelled kind of ridiculously. It's spelled the French way, Houde. So everyone calls me like Ami Houde or, I don't know, Ami Houde or Howdy. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. And especially Americans will come up and be like, oh, Ami Houde. It's like, no, it's Hood. Ami Houde. And no one even believes me that it's Ami Houde. So I made sure in my new video that's dropping this week that I instilled in your brains, people, how you say my name, and you'll never get it wrong again. I promise.
Yeah, well, you showed me some of the clips from the video, and I literally was rolling with laughter. Hilarious.
I know, and it sucks because I've had to kind of keep pushing the delivery date and when I'm going to drop the video, just because, every video I do, I want to make the next one bigger and better. And this one, I haven't been able to film a lot of riding shots. It's not easy to film yourself riding, people. I can't exactly hold a GoPro as I have jumps. It doesn't work. So I've been trying to line up a couple more times to get out and get actual riding footage so that we can evenly pair the goofiness with moto. So
yeah,
hang tight, it's coming up. But yeah, I know we have a special guest today on our show.
Yeah, as you say that, we got Taylor Robert calling in right now. How's everything going, Taylor? You're on air with Jim Beaver and Ami Houde.
Hey, how's it going? Hey.
Yeah, things are good, buddy. I think things are even better for you though. Right now, this is the big one this week. I mean, X Games. You yourself back in 2013, X Games gold medalist. So it's got to be a pretty exciting week for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited. This will actually be my first race this season because I broke my wrist in December and I broke the navicular, which is the one that doesn't heal. So, of course, I had to wait like 3 months, and then finally just been getting back on the bike, and I'm actually pretty excited that X Games will be my first race back.
Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, what a way to come back, right? With X Games.
Yeah. Yep, and I mean, obviously it's like the biggest action sports event in the world, so it's always cool that they, well, at least the last 4 years, they've had Endurocross in there, which is huge for off-road racing.
Yeah, well, and I know this year, to talk about 2015, because you were slated. I know you've done, the Endurocross series here in the States a while. I mean, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about, you're a works champ. But you were slated to go race in Europe, right? What do they call it? Super Enduro over in Europe?
Yeah, exactly, which is basically just the European version of our Endurocross series. It's a somewhat similar format. They do a little bit different over there, but the tracks are real similar. And I did the first round, and then I broke my wrist like 3 days after the first round when I was practicing at my house. But I didn't realize I broke it, and I went to a couple different doctors, and they told me I didn't break it. So I kept racing. I went and did 2 more rounds in Europe, and then I finally had a doctor that found out it was broken, and I got surgery on it. So yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that whole series this winter, but come the end of the year, which it usually starts a couple weeks after our series ends, I'll get to give it another go at the Super Enduro series.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is the level of racing over there kind of like motocross? They often say that the European motocross is on a whole different level. It's just the tracks are more intense, the riding's more intense, longer motos. Is it kind of similar to Endurocross, the European series?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, once you get over there, it feels completely different because I feel like there's like a broader range of riders over there. As far as in the United States, we have a lot of good Endurocross riders, but there's really, 3 or 4 guys that could win at any time. And over there, there's like 7 guys that could win, and so that makes it a little bit more intense. And you do shorter motos on a lot narrower tracks, which makes the riding just insane because over here our main event is 15 laps, which usually is about 12 minutes. And over there you do 7 minutes plus a lap, and you do 3 motos, and you just you have guys bashing each other. And then the second moto they do like a reverse start, kind of like in arena cross where the guy at the top guys start in the back. So it makes for some pretty chaotic racing over there. But all in all, like, it's still similar, but it's just kind of different because of the format and how many good guys there are over there.
Yeah.
And I mean, the tracks must be super different because you're jumping country to country. Not like here, you're just kind of going across the states. But I mean, you're going from a completely different terrain from one country to the other. Like, that must be pretty cool.
Yeah, and the biggest difference over there is that they have somebody different build the track every weekend, which makes it like pretty inconsistent. Where here we have Schaefer tracks, and they build every single Endurocross track, and they build even the X Games ones. So, like, at least we kind of know that he knows exactly what he's doing, and he has this program set for every round, even though the tracks are always different. It's like Supercross, they have the same guy build every track, but over there, somebody different builds every round because they have a different track builder in every country. So you're like, I don't know what we're going to get this weekend.
It's like Russian roulette, right?
That's awesome. A little scary,
though. The first round was a little scary over there because they went to Poland, which they hadn't been there in a while, and they went to an arena they'd never been to, and they didn't bring in enough dirt, so the track was like super thin. We were down to the concrete in like 4 or 5 places, and then because they didn't have enough dirt, they made the track real narrow. Where here our tracks are, at minimum I think they're 20 or 22 feet wide, and over there it felt like the track was about 12 feet wide. So it was a little sketchy that first round.
Yeah. Well, how has the transition been for you? Because obviously, you're a works rider. You know what I mean. You're used to some outdoor riding. Your background's in that. It's not like you're coming over from Supercross or motocross or something like that. But how has the transition been to Endurocross? I mean, being a top level Endurocross racer. I mean, has it been a pretty hard transition for you as a rider?
Kind of. I mean, I actually did grow up doing motocross, and I only raced motocross until I was 15, and then I started racing the WORCS series, and it was just kind of because my dad and his buddy had started racing the WORCS races, so I just kind of started doing that, and then after a year of racing WORCS, I already had like a factory team green ride as an amateur, and I was like, wow, I get way more support doing this. I guess I'm pretty good at it. So I just kind of started doing that, and then when I signed on with Factory Kawasaki as a pro, they had me do Endurocross, and the first year was definitely rough just because Endurocross is so intense, and it just basically takes all off-road elements and puts them into a 45-second track. And so it was kind of hard for me to adapt to that intensity, and just like your heart rate goes from resting to 190 like in a half a lap, so 30 seconds, and it was pretty crazy. But after the first year, I started getting the hang of it, and then I feel like I picked it up somewhat quick because the first year I ever raced it was 2011, and then by 2013 I was able to win a gold medal. So it was definitely a rougher transition than just going from motocross to off-road, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there certain elements from the two series that you like about one and, don't like about the other, in opposed to WORCS and Endurocross? Like, are there certain things you like about each one?
Yeah, I mean, Endurocross is nice because it's kind of like Supercross in the fact that you go there, you show up, you're not there all day. We only have to ride, part of the day, and it's nice because it's a show. But in the WORCS side of it, it's also cool in the opposite aspect that you go there, it's more of like a family environment. You get to hang out, you're there all weekend, and it's kind of like a motocross or amateur national in that aspect that everybody gets along, and it's not like everybody's just trying to go out there and take each other out. But I don't know, I really like all forms of racing. I mean, I've been getting into more of like the extreme enduros. I did Erzberg last year, but unfortunately I won't get to do it this year because it's actually this weekend, which is the same as X Games. So I've just been trying to get out there and do everything. I was actually supposed to do the first two outdoor nationals this year too, but my broken wrist kind of hindered that.
Yeah.
You do a little bit of everything. Like, I mean, that's how you become an all-around, good, experienced rider, is doing a little bit of everything. I yet have the opportunity to do a WORCS race, but we have a pretty cool, bush riding series here. It's the Manitoba Dirt Riders, and they've been bugging me to come out there, but I'm just not really good at racing 3 hours at a time and through like rocks and trees and bushes, but I'd like to try it one time. But I know I got to get to go kind of test my endurance, but if you can do that, I think you can do anything, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of always been my goal since I started racing off-road when I was 15. I was like, you know what, I just want to be good at everything because I found out that I hate sucking at stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try and be, the best all-around rider I can be.
Well, and that's what keeps riding fun, when you're out there and, you look at the same thing, day after day after day, and it gets to, kind of be monotony. But, if you can go ride motocross one day and then, go do a little bit of Endurocross or some desert riding, it mixes it up. And I think that's what keeps it fun and keeps you energized for riding.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
And I got to bring you up here one time to try some ice racing. I don't know if you've ever tried it before, but I mean, if you're really looking to expand your horizons and race in negative 30 degrees, by all means, come try it out. It's basically like flat track. It's awesome.
I know, I've seen that, and I've wanted to try it out. I'm not huge, on the cold weather, being that I'm from Arizona, but I would like to. My brother actually works for Dirt Rider, and they went up and did a ice race in Wisconsin this winter, and he said it was pretty cool, and just the traction that you get on those bikes is amazing when you think of riding on ice.
Yeah, no, it's pure hookup. I mean, there are even forms like ruts in the ice and stuff. People don't even realize how similar it is to, kind of moto in terms of, just pure hookup and throttle control, and you can just give her right out of the corners. You don't slide at all with those, studs on your tires. But it's cold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cold. If you don't like snowmobiling and you're a little bit of cold weather tribe, it's definitely not for you.
No, I want to try it, and I just, it's not a huge sport down here in the Southwest, so I'll just have to figure out how to make a trip up that way and try it out.
Yeah, you and I are Arizona boys. It's like I just tell Amy she lives at the North Pole. It's but talking about being an Arizona boy, I know you have the opportunity. Last year, I had Destry Abbott on air, and we talked about kind of his career and his training facility. But I know you spent a lot of time with Destry there at his facility. I mean, how's that been? Progressing your career? Because I mean, Destry. I mean, you look at I just call him one of the legends of motorcycles. Period. He's done a little bit of everything, but it had to have been great for you to be able to train there.
Yeah, it really has, and I've known Destry and looked up to Destry for a long time. It was actually kind of funny how it all came together, because when I was 7 years old, I was racing motocross, and Steve Hatch, who's another off-road legend, moved in like a quarter mile down the street from me. So Steve and Destry would always train together when I was growing up, and I was like, man, I just want to be like those guys. And then ended up just kind of following in Destry's footsteps, I guess, and he's kind of been a mentor of mine since I started really racing off-road, which was, about 10 years ago now. And then he got this training facility going, and it's just awesome because we got a great group of guys in there. There's five of us in there alone are going to X Games this week. So they definitely got their program together. And yeah, he just started, to up it another level for us and created a program just for like us top athletes that, want to be the best we can be. And he got a trainer specific for what we want to do, and it's really come together pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, was it at his training facility there that he threw in that X Games ramp that I know is going to be at Endurocross this time? Was that at his training facility? Built one? Gee, that's crazy. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Yep, it's definitely been pretty cool. So it's cool just being connected with Destry because he has so many resources and so much knowledge that you can just kind of learn and grow from just being around him.
Yeah. Well, I saw your sick no footer you pulled off the ramp, right?
Yeah, which was funny because we were all we hit the ramp, and I've hit ramps before, but it's been a long time. So we went out there and we all hit the ramps, and I was like, I wonder how I can make it even more technical. And I did that, and it was more scary dropping off the ramp than actually jumping the ramp.
Well, that's what I was looking at that, just off the ramp to flat. I mean, that's, that's kind of nutty. It's kind of like step up. I mean, it's just kind of an acid drop,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, no, it's all good fun. And that's the cool thing about off-road racing is that you can basically do anything you want and it'll benefit you as far as, I can ride my trials motorcycle or ride mountain bikes or anything. And you can always relate it to off-road racing because it's just such a wide variety of riding.
Yeah. Well, I saw you do some stuff with Specialized too, right? On the bicycle side.
Yeah, just recently in the last couple months, kind of got together with a Specialized guy and got a couple mountain bikes and just been shredding those things up. So that's been pretty fun. It kind of gave me something to do for a little bit before I was able to get back on the dirt bike from my broken wrist. So. It's been going good.
How's that been for you? I mean, you being able to go back and forth. Because I know Amy and I are friends with Ronnie Renner, and I know Renner. He bounces back and forth quite a bit. I mean, is it pretty good for you off the dirt bike training to do the mountain bike stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because it's a good cross between cross training and having fun. Because when I was younger, I was riding road bikes, and a lot of the pro moto guys still ride road bikes, but I just get so bored with riding on the road. I just want to shoot myself. So mountain bike, you at least get that, you at least get the endurance, and then you still have a lot more fun than just riding on the road. So that's what I like about mountain biking. And then you can go up to the ski resorts and do downhill, which is, I think, as close as you can get to riding a dirt bike on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, my other side of the family, actually, like one side we're all motocrossers, and the other side live in BC and are downhill mountain bikers. So it's pretty cool because my other girl cousin, she's one of the top Canadian downhill mountain bikers, and she's been trying to get me out to the mountains and stuff, but that is way too gnarly for me. I do not want to go down a mountain without an engine and no control and hit a jump. Like, no, I don't think so. Like a tree, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it'd be great training for Endurocross and the work riding because it's, you know, kind of similar terrain. But, yeah, just a little sketchy for me.
Yeah, it is pretty fun, though. You should try it because they have a lot of just, like, I mean, they do have, most of this stuff, especially in Whistler, they have some pretty awesome jumps, but they have just fun, like, single-track stuff that I think is a blast, too, because you can just, they have, like, full-on wall berms and stuff built, so.
Yeah, looks awesome.
Go there and moto down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, So talking about this week, you know, what's on tap for you, Taylor? I mean, obviously X Games. I mean, what's the plans? I know you're still in Phoenix right now, right? Give us kind of the rundown of what your week looks like.
Yeah, this week is kind of like a taper off week as far as our training program goes. We went really hard the last couple weeks, and then this week you taper off so that, you know, when you come into the race, you're hungry and your body's not worn out. So this week, just going to, today we're actually doing a yoga class at the gym, and then we're going to spin for a little while. And then tomorrow and Wednesday, just going to do some short sprints on my Endurocross track at my house. And then I'll fly out to Austin on Thursday, and hopefully that'll be the golden ticket on Friday.
Yeah. So here's a question. Do you guys have, you know, at a lot of these venues, do you have an idea of what the track is gonna look like beforehand, so you can kind of set your training up and cater towards that track, or is it you know, kind of a shot in the dark when you show up, you get to see it for the first time?
A little bit of both. They usually give us a track map for all the courses at the beginning of the year, so we kind of have an idea. But I would say 8 times out of 10 you show up and they might have all the obstacles that are going to be on the course on that track, but they're always like in a different order, or they don't look anything like what they did on the track map. So the track map just kind of gives you like a general idea of what they're probably going to have there. Like if they have a firewood pit on the track map, chances are they're going to have a firewood pit there, but it could be twice as long, or it could be in a turn or something weird like that. So they always try and change it up and throw some curveballs at us, but yeah, we have a general idea. I know this weekend this week they've been having a real tough time with the track because they got so much rain in Texas. So they
right.
Yeah, Schaefer, the guy that builds the track, he actually posted a picture of all the plywood or a video of all the plywood that goes underneath the dirt just floating away because they got so much flooding there.
Wow.
But
that's not on the news.
I know,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but I know the last couple of days they've started moving some dirt around, and they've been having to mix in a bunch of lime with it to try and draw out the dirt, which is actually what they had to do when we did the Global X Games in 2013 because it rained at every single event. So I think they got a system down, and hopefully they'll have it all set up for us when we get there on Thursday and race on Friday.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be exciting for you, knowing might be a little wet weather, because obviously you've done pretty good with it in the past, taking home a gold, right?
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. You know, I've thought about this before. I don't really ride in the mud that much. I ride in a lot of real slippery stuff because it's dry like in Arizona, but you know, we don't get a lot of rain or mud. But the only 2 Endurocross races that I've won have been like the slimiest, nastiest ones, which are the one we had in Germany, which was a mudder. And then last year, I won my first AMA race in Washington, which wasn't really a mudder, but the dirt there is super soft as it is just because it sits outside in Washington all year. And, yeah, so it's funny how the ones that are muddier somehow favor me. I'm not sure how that works.
I love mud races. It's my favorite.
Yeah. They're fun, you know, if you just...
that I went to was been a mud race because I knew I would have done 10 times better. Oh.
Yeah. I think it's really just how you go into it mentally. Like, if you go in there, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to have some fun. I'm not going to be all mad because it's muddy. And usually it works out pretty fun because as long as you get in a little groove, the mud actually makes it pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always know that everyone else there is, like, freaking out. They're like, oh, mud. And I'm like, yeah, like, now it's about survival of the fittest. Like, who can just stay up, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I know, here's a question for you, kind of on your program. I know, was it last year you made the switch? I know you said, Team Green kind of got involved with you in the beginning, but you made the switch to KTM, and I think, for what you're doing now, obviously, with the Endurocross, I mean, KTM on the off-road side is just legendary. I mean, how has that switch been for you and, to I guess, from green to orange?
It's been awesome. Cowie was really good to me for the 3 years that I rode for them as a pro, and they're a legend too. Industri's ridden for them for 15 years now, I think. But the switch to KTM for me really kind of, I think, is going to help me progress my career and everything that I want to do, because they just have such a worldwide presence. And kind of like I was saying before, I want to be a really good all-around rider, and with KTM, I can basically go anywhere in the world, and they'll have a bike there for no matter what kind of racing I'm doing, whether it's Earthberg, if I want to do a World Enduro or a GP, whatever I want to do. They have so many resources all around the world, and their main passion is off-road riding, which is really cool as an off-road rider.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, I know you're awful busy with X Games week. You got anything for him, Amy, before we let him go?
Well, I did want to ask, basically, for all of our female listeners out there, did a little bit of social media creeping, and I saw that you had proposed to your lady on a street bike ride, which I think is awesome. I hope that if my man ever it's something like dirt bike related. But I got to ask, think you're going to incorporate anything like dirt bike related into the wedding? A motocross boot centerpiece or a KTM on top of the cake? I did see a video the other day of the full wedding party in head-to-toe gear, and they rolled in on to the chapel on dirt bikes. Are you going to go that far, or do you have, anything at all? She's, super chill, and she really doesn't have a big opinion either way, and she actually rides motorcycles herself. Oh, really?
But, and she's always just ridden off-road and kind of trail ridden with her dad. She's never raced. But she's a really good rider. But anyway, I don't know exactly what we're going to do there. We're actually having the wedding about 6 miles from my house, and I did have the thought of maybe just myself and all my buddies, and maybe even her, we could just maybe just ride our bikes down to the wedding venue and then just, hang out there. But I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do yet. But it definitely was fun proposing to her on the bike, because she was not expecting it, and I kind of wanted to incorporate that into it because motorcycles are such a huge part of both of our lives. So we'll have to see what we can do.
I'm just going to girl out right now. That's so cool.
Yeah, we'll have to see what we can do and come up with something original for the wedding.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. Congrats, on the engagement, and good luck this weekend at X Games, man. Here's hoping you can walk away with another gold.
Yeah, definitely the plan. I mean, there's a lot of good guys riding this weekend, so just going to go out there and do the best I can do. I mean, hopefully the X Games tracks are, have fun, and usually the X Games tracks are cool because they're a lot bigger than our regular stadium races. So just go out there and take advantage of the big track and have a good time.
Yeah. Well, and one question before we let you go, I know I keep adding these in here, but our partners at Rigid Industries, partners of mine, with a radio show and my trophy truck program. From what I understand, you got a pretty sick ride.
I actually just bought a new truck in December, and then I got a hold of Brett over at Rigid, and he's been super cool, just kind of helping me deck it out and get it basically ready to be kind of like a chase truck in case KTM decides to go back down to Baja. And I bought a brand new GMC Canyon and put a bunch of Rigid lights on it and got some King shocks for it. And it should be pretty trick once it's done. I'm still kind of in the process of finishing it right now, but I'm pretty excited with the way it's turning out.
Nice. Good deal. Well, you have a great week. Good luck at X Games, and we'll talk to you soon. You got anything for him, Amy?
No, that's all, man. You're super fun to talk to. Come back on and tell us about your victory at X Games next week.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. It's been a blast, and hope to talk to you guys soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Taylor.
All right, thank you guys. See ya.
All right. Awesome. Well, great catching up with him, Amy. He's definitely dialed in. I think, I had a lot of fun because he talked about just riding for fun, and riding as much and different stuff as you can. And I think, you've kind of got the same outlook. You're going to be ice racing one time, riding motocross another. You just go out and have fun, and and generally when you do that, the wins and victories come.
No, and I definitely need to expand my horizons a little bit more. When I was younger, I was that kid that was really fortunate enough to have the opportunity to ride a little bit of everything. My dad took me woods riding, and he took me to arena crosses kind of around North America, and we raced a whole bunch of different tracks all around the U.S. So I was really lucky where I show up somewhere and I had the experience of riding something kind of similar. And that's the thing, if you travel a lot and you ride a bunch of different tracks, the more experience you have, the better you are to be able to adapt to, your new surroundings and new places. If you just ride the same stuff all the time, you show up to a sand track, you don't know what to do. You just ride hardpack all the time. So I really do, after this weekend especially, I told you I sucked the big one, but I really need to focus on my endurance, and I think I really got to try to do one of the Manitoba Dirt Riders Association races. That's the woods riding. They go for hours in the bush, and I just, need to step up my game. And, I think I've done all I can do at the gym. The only next thing for me is ride time and time on the bike. So I'm definitely going to try a woods race. That's my next step. Check it off the bucket list.
Another one off the bucket list. Nice. Well, it's been fun having you on, and great having Taylor. What's on tap for you coming up? I know you just you've knocked out a few races. You pretty much on the bike all summer long.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't have it too good of my women's race, but I had probably the coolest races. That's the thing. I mean, there's good races. There's, oh my God, what the heck was that? And then there's fun races. I had not so good women's race, but I had two awesome, fun motos in my 250B. On a gate of 40 guys, I pulled both hole shots and led for a lap and, sit top three until my arms pumped up and I couldn't hold on any longer, which is why I need to do a woods enduro race. But I had really a fun time of racing because I was pretty nervous for it. I thought I was going to do terrible. The guys' class kind of freaks me out when there's a full gate of 40 because they're just a little radical, I think is a good word to describe, 18-year-old boys in the intermediate B class is they're radical. So, yeah, my nerves were up, and I was, lucky enough to be able to put it all together, and my training's really been paying off, and I felt really comfortable, and I got the whole shots, and I was so happy. So now I just got to, take what I learned from this weekend and kind of capitalize on my mistakes and put them towards, training in the gym. And I'm going to try to get out and ride a bunch of times this week so that I won't fade. So that's kind of the next step is every week, you got to sit down and say, okay, what do I have to work on? And then go and prove to yourself that, you figured it out for the next weekend. So every week is basically a learning process. And that's the best thing about racing. You can always get better if you allow yourself to grow. And, that's why I love racing. I can always get better.
Yeah, for sure. Always learning something. Real quick before we let you go, we're really short on time, but I want to talk real quick about Pro Motocross. Obviously, Dungey first, Roxon second, but big news, Tomac wins the first one, shoulder injury. Man, talk about heartbreaking for Tomac.
So bummed. I mean, everybody at the track always kind of watches live online and Twitter and stuff, live feed, see what's going on, and everybody in the pits was just super bummed. I mean, Tomac is a crowd favorite. Everybody loves the guy, and he is kind of the underdog where, it's Dungey Rain. It's all about Dungey. And everyone loves Tomac and wants to see him succeed, and he's such a cool rider to watch if you have the chance to actually watch him. I mean, he jumps farther and pushes harder than anybody out there, but that's just the thing. He pushes a little bit too hard, whereas Dungey's kind of the safe bet. He rides kind of level-headed throughout the whole season and is really consistent, where Tomac's just out to kill, basically. And unfortunately, kind of nipped him in the butt. So, hopefully it's just maybe an AC separation instead of torn ligaments, which is actually what I had in my shoulder. And with the AC, maybe he can get back right away. So all the best to him. I hope he comes back super bummer. But, now Dungey probably has, if Tomek's not back in the next little while, Dungey can walk away with an outdoor championship by playing it safe, which I just don't like to see. I like to see heated, hot battles all year, not like a safe race. So, it is what it is. That's racing, right?
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely have to keep tabs on that, and we'll see you back here next week. Sorry to cut you short, but we got to wrap things up. But as always, thanks, Amy, and we'll talk soon.
Talk soon, see you guys. Bye.
Take it easy. All right, that was Ami Houde calling in. We're going to quick give you a rundown of some of the results this weekend. Obviously, Dungey taking the win there in Pro Motocross, Rocks in second, Baggett third, your 250s. It was Jeremy Martin taking the win, Zach Osborne, followed by Adam Cianciarulo. Those are your motocross results. Going to skip over, talk some Stadium Super Trucks real quick. And Stadium Super Trucks, it was Robbie Gordon taking the first win in Detroit. Remember, it was a triple header. Viso taking home that second win. Viso with 3 wins last year, taking all 3 of the triple header, only able to take one this go-around, and Burt Jenner taking home that third race win. So big shout-out to Burt Jenner. So it was Gordon, Viso, Jenner with the 3 wins there in that triple header. And then Red Bull GRC, no, we didn't get to talk much about it. Short track, Fort Lauderdale, 4 miles long, and it was Ken Block, followed by Scott Speed, Nelson Piquet, Sebastian Eriksson, and Tanner Faust. That was your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then in the GRC Lights, Austin Cindric, his very first ever GRC Lights win, coming up Fort Lauderdale. Alejo Fernandez, Oliver Erickson, Tanner Witten, my Dirtfish teammate, and Jeff Sykes rounded out your top 5. Big shout out to Colette Davis. She had a bad crash and ended up rebounding and actually able to race the main event. So big shout out to her. I know I talked with her. We're going to have her on air at some point in the future. Next up, X Games for GRC, followed by Daytona. Man, been a great show. Got to give a big shout out to all of you who listen in each and every week. Wrapping things up here, upcoming X Games, Motocross, Rally America, Baja 500, and Formula Drift. Got to give a big shout out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, UPR.com, Bloater Resort and Casino, J-Mar Performance Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and Intense Tees. Also, Jarett, Amy, Taylor, Marty, Dani. And don't forget to give us a follow at JimBeaver15 on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/DownandDirtyShow or DownandDirtyShow.com for all the back episodes. Don't forget to get our app available on Apple, iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. And follow Ami Houde on social media as well. And also me on Periscope at JimBeaver15. Also, real quick before we go, Oscar Ramos Score, lawyer for Baja, longtime lawyer for Score International. He has successfully gone through cancer treatment. I guess that's all things going well. Follow Score International for all those updates on Oscar Ramos. Glad to see him doing okay, though. And we're going to cap things off here with Ami Houde's intro music since I botched it the first time around. We'll see you next Monday.